Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to this webinar. I have the pleasure for enjoying a Friday afternoon with some real big, real stalwarts of the industry who've seen the retail in the last couple of years definitely and changed the scenario. So I have with me Sanjeev Rao, CEO Being Human. Hi, Sanjeev. I have with me Ronak Shah, Director Just in Time. Hi, Ronak. And Neena Lekhi, founder and CEO of Bagit. And of course, Manu Indrayan, co-founder and CEO for Indian Clothing League 612 League. Hi, Manu, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank
Great.
you.
So it's a great Friday afternoon, and I have the pleasure of being the moderator for such an esteemed panel here. And my topic is a loaded one. It's a tough topic given to me. First of all, these are the big wigs sitting in front of me, and I have a loaded topic which is driving customer interaction, loyalty, unified promotions through single view of the customer. So it's a loaded topic. There is loyalty, there is unified promotion, there is single view of the customer, and I am Tapan, CRO of Arvind Internet, entrusted to the responsibility to moderate the panel discussion. It's a pleasure to be with my equals, my betters in this discussion. And we all know, and first, before I get into the topic, I want to pick all of your brains and get your viewpoint in the last 1.5 years of craziness of the dark time, but still an innovative time that we've been able to innovate and move forward in the pandemic. In the pandemic, what I have seen in the last is what I've seen is that omni-channel has moved from in some P&Ls, and I'm talking about a aggregate of 100 plus brand. In some P&L, it was like 3% to 5% of an omni-channel P&L, and that percentage has moved in some brands to 25% to a 50 to 40% of a number of an overall P&L, which is an e-commerce or an online share. So I want to start from here that and to check with you 1 minute each of you that how has been the last 1 year of experience, what's the change you have experienced, and I'll start with Manu. How's been your time in the last 1.5 years?
Uh, yeah, so the pandemic has affected different segments, different industry segments in different ways. For branded apparel, I think it's been one of the, I think it would be one of the defining moments across history because this has changed the way brands perceive markets and consumers perceive brands. So I would just, in a nutshell, say that pre-COVID, uh, there were multiple channels, and to each channel one was targeting a certain set of consumers. For instance, a general trade consumer would be a different consumer. EBO driven EBO would have target a separate consumer. Modern trade or large formats will target. Now what has changed is that there we see a convergence. We see not only a convergence of sales channels, we also see convergence of the consumer, which means that the same consumer is now shopping across all formats, and online has of course enabled that. So I think that's a major shift. Now that of course translates into a lot of changes as far as right from product strategy to your communication strategy and everything. I mean, those are the details that we can discuss. I think in the on the one openness to go online, shop online. Of course, we are seeing a huge shift in kids wear also, because kids wear in our industry primarily the problem was about sizing, because there are multiple sizes and people are not sure whether you are 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 what will fit in. And I think there was reluctance to actually order online pre-COVID. So from a share of about 8 to 10%, I think the online share has actually jumped to about say 30-32%, even
Very
30 to
true.
40%.
Very
Of
true.
course, the volumes have reduced because of COVID, because there's consumption has been affected. But I think the trend of shift in terms of online is a, I think, a reality, and it is here to stay, and it has to be built up on.
Great, Manu. I'm coming back to you with more questions, and I want to now move to Nina. Nina Bagitol, fantastic book. We will talk about that some other day. It's a good read, but I want to see your inputs on the last 1.5 years first.
Yeah, so I think we were lucky at Baggett. We were not very savvy with the digital world. We're not, the digital native so-called and the D2C. So we've always been more the retail, hardcore, brick and mortar stores. So I think all that the pandemic brought us hit us really hard, but I think it also woke us, alive to just becoming so good at the online world. And it is so interesting to learn about it. And obviously, the share for online work for us was very little. It was about 10%, 17%, depending on channels, and only baggett.com. And it grew to almost 100% in some months, like, stores were completely closed, gave us our dal roti.
But you're absolutely right, Nina. The innovation, the learning in the last 1.5 years has been like totally at a breakneck speed. I want to now move to Sanjeev and take his views. Also, he's seen a change of hands in Feb, and Sanjeev, and of course the pandemic impacted. Sanjeev, how's been for it for you?
Well, Tapan, it's been, what should I say? I think 2019, 2018, 19 was more of, most of the boardroom meetings were all about how many stores that you're going to expand into, which are the markets, which are the geographies, how many stores do you have in SIS, you have in Shopper Stop, and all of that, and in lifestyle and in different formats, different channels. But what happened during the pandemic was that what we realized was from this typical, enjoying the shopping, going to a mall, people actually started getting hooked on to enjoying shopping online. And this was more or less like a forced, forced thing. And we saw initially the trending that we have seen in the market. It all started with your grocery shopping, where people were, forced to get into grocery. And then slowly they said, and we being casual brand, there was a lot of demand for casual t-shirts, for crew necks, for polos, for shorts, all of that. So quickly, I think the team did a wonderful job in terms of moving quickly onto the e-com platform. And surprisingly, we saw that, this is one massive channel which actually was quite unexplored. And also, it brought in anywhere between, for us, it was anywhere between 18 to 25% kind of a shift in the channel mix. And having said that, what we have now realized is that, our customers have now kind of got used to it. They technically now know that, yes, if we have to pick up this t-shirt, this particular size, it's exactly going to fit us. Earlier, it was all about go to the store, wear the t-shirt, try it on. But now I think they've got used to it. They know exactly what fits them and all of that. This has actually led us now to look at investing considerably in our future plans in terms of, getting into the omnichannel perspective, because every single store, franchisee stores that we are now going to open in India and also in neighboring countries will also have this last mile delivery concept where every store is being built with that aspect. So looking at the single view of the customer, I think I
Sanjeev,
completely
I'll pause you there.
Yeah.
I want to go on single view of the customer on a different question.
Sure.
And I don't want you to foreshadow that question for me. So I'll just pause you there. And I must welcome. Hi, Apurv. Good to have you
Sorry,
here.
sorry,
Thank you for, no,
apologies.
no, thank you for taking out time for this. And you're so Apurv, Chief Brand Officer of Iconic Fashion. What we had decided that we'll first ask a question on how has been the last 1.5 years for each of us, and then we'll move quickly then to the unified promotion, the data aspect, and the customer 360-degree view and loyalty there. So while you catch your breath, I'll just quickly ask the same question to Ronak. That Ronak, how's been the last 1.5 years for you, and over to you.
Sure. First of all, hello everyone. Thanks for having me on this panel, Tapan Images Group. So quickly answering your, first question is last 1.5 year, same for us, just in time. We've seen a lot of demand when it comes to offline. Until the shutters were down, the businesses were bad. As soon as the shutters opened, India has picked up. So we are super bullish on the consumption story growing ahead, and we are super bullish on both sides of story, may it be offline or online. All we are trying to do is create a robust, integrated infrastructure between these two ecosystems, and have our rollout journey.
Fantastic point, Ronak. Apoorv, we'd like to hear from you. How's been the last 1.5 years for you? And
Thank you so much, Tapan. Thank you so much to the Images Group for inviting me to this fantastic webinar. I think 1.5 years for us has been a very interesting journey because we were a traditional offline retail company, and we always thought that we can build fantastic stores and the customer would visit our stores. We had never dreamt of an environment where the stores would not operate. So the whole idea changed. That the idea earlier was to get the customers to the store, but 1.5 years back, the decision came that now we have to reach to the customer. So with this fundamental shift, we had to completely invest into technology. And it's been a great journey because today, when I look back in the last 1.5 years, what we have built is that we've built 15% of our future business. I'm not even talking about a current business, but 15% of our future business is projected to come from online. And our web store in the coming year would be our single largest store. For a traditional retailer, these are big ticket items.
Very true.
Now, when I'm getting into an exciting quarter, which is October to December, which I feel will be the biggest ever quarter for Indian retail, from both aspects, online and offline. I have a channel now which is anyways doing very well, which is the online channel. And I have an offline channel which is waiting to go. So, we are waiting for the customers to come in. And as we've opened stores, we've got fantastic demand. So my overall business for next year looks almost 40% higher than what we were looking 1.5 years back. So that's what changed for us. So which has been an amazing shift.
Absolutely. For Arvind brands and for others, we've been doing omnification for the past 7+ years, which is a core store fulfillment model. And before pandemic, I used to talk to people, hey, why don't we omnify and store fulfillment? They say, yeah, come back later. Let's talk about it later. And then we saw that the minute the shutters happened, which is a dangerous thing, and none of us in the dream imagined that someday it'll be shutters, and the interstate logistics chains broke. All that was surviving was store fulfillment, and I saw a 10x increase on the platform traffic. Most of the people were asking us to fulfill from store. So I'm with you. And what we've discovered in the first question, I'm just quickly baselining it, is a percentage of business move from ballpark lower double digits to definitely between, or lower single digits actually, to 25% to 40% of overall P&L mix. But I'm seeing that most of us have a online plan, and we believe that online to offline is going to coexist. In fact, most of us believe that it's going to be a double engine power. There's going to be an online engine power and there's going to be an offline engine power. So it's going to jump the business forward further. So on that, and baselining the question here, and because it's so many questions, please feel free to add whichever question, and if you want to add. What I want to move to next is what I've seen as an evolution in omnichannel specifically is there are 3 stages. What we say is there are 3 stages is connect, converge, and converse. In connect, you connect all your assortment, warehouse, store assortment into a single view. In a converge, you let all channels sip into the same assortment so that the offline and online and D2C or marketplaces or WhatsApp commerce or social commerce, all is sipping into the same assortment. And third being converse. So in that you have a lot of conversations with the brand. And today in the discussion we are focusing more on the converse part. Of course, the key part there is the unification of data or the single view of the customer. So here in the second question, I'll go ladies first, and then any of you can add. So Nina, what's your view on this, and especially on single view of the customer? If you can add a few of your points.
Yeah, so it is interesting how the cross pollination is happening between online and offline, and we have this data that we are building up on. Also, we noticed that the customers who are more online are always looking out for discounts and some kind of thing, because they don't have the touch and feel. I think that's also a feel for them. And obviously the customers in the stores, that's the retail world, the offline world, is looking more for new merchandise. So there is a little difference in the kind of customers that come into both of the spaces. But you need to make different product lines, get them there to what they want. Obviously there's layers into it of, how you do different promos, and it is difficult to do some promos in the online world, and it is, different appeasement for different kind of customers. So we are all learning on that path. But I think it's also interesting that sometimes a customer in like a tier 4 city where Baggett hasn't yet penetrated, so they would like to see your brand first online and then visit your store, when you open a store. So I think the cross pollination is interesting.
Nina, and actually I want to take this question to Apurv now. Apurv, Nina called out very specifically categories or the types of customers. Maybe it could be discount oriented. You want to add something onto that?
Yeah, it's a very interesting aspect which we have seen over the last 1 year. So like I said, that we are a traditional offline retailer. But what has happened is, I think with this whole approach of going online, what we've realized is that there is a completely different customer in many occasions when it comes to online and offline. So what we've seen is that because we are a premium retail concept, for us, last 1 year has taught us that the customer which is actually coming to the offline stores is a product seeker. For him, product is the king. He's looking for freshness. He's looking for service. So this has also helped us in evolving our strategy, because for us now, offline as a channel is a limited discount channel where we are putting in more freshness. We are focusing more towards service. Whereas also with this whole web shop, what has happened is it does not actually take away the fact that there are discount seekers even coming to our offline store. But we don't want to stock in the discounted merchandise in a high real estate cost space. But at the same time, our sellers are now able to convert even a customer who was walking away, who was not getting discounts at the store, with this whole endless aisle concept. So our conversion has gone up. Our conversion with the web shop coming in and offline has gone up by 5 percentage points. The second interesting data was that it's very interesting to see that our data says that 23% of our shoppers who came first to our web store, their second purchase was made in offline stores. So, which was very interesting because they wanted to experience the width, they wanted to experience the product. Correct. Now, this is the beauty of Omnichannel, because this is what is taking learning from one side to the other side.
Very true.
So, and what is happening is, this is one data. The second thing is that, for when I'm talking about, later on we'll cover loyalty also, but just throwing a data, our loyalty, so 37% of our high loyalty database is common between online and offline. What we have seen is that for us, a high loyalty customer was visiting a store once in 45 days, which was the offline store. Now the same customer is browsing our web store once in 10 days. So he's actually visiting us more. Correct. See, we may say, okay, he's coming
brand
to our
engagement,
web store.
yeah.
But overall, it is helping us.
Very true, very true, very true. Manu, you talked about channel aspect and the channel conversion. Over to you, Manu.
Yeah, so I think there's another perspective. I think because there is a different perspective when I speak as a brand as opposed to a retailer. Okay, because now what has happened in the brand space, and especially in the kidswear segment for sure, is that online channel was basically serving as a discount channel, pre-COVID time, and people were looking for deals, and people would visit our stores and then look at Amazon, and they would like to compare, and that's why we also had a very distinct product line for offline and online, freshness, season -1, all those things were happening. Now what has happened is that the offline channels have started getting completely affected and influenced by what is happening online. So it's become the other way around now, because people first go online. I know, as Apurv also said that, and I think we are all saying that it's easier to go off online and explore the brand, explore the product categories, and then if you want to buy offline, you can go for the experience and width and etc. But from purely from a pricing point of view, that distinction which was there in offline and online, especially in the kids segment, is beginning to blur, because now we are talking about that full fresh or MRP sales are rare, extremely rare, which used to be very common in the pre-COVID era, and not even really pre-COVID, I think in a pre-online era, where we used to see only two windows of heavy discounts, even in Shoppers Stop or Reliance Anywhere, where you would say that okay, it's a end of season sales, which is the window where you get discounted merchandise. And generally throughout the year we used to aim at getting a full price for the product. That distinction has got completely blurred because of online, because now what we are talking about is that whatever price MRP you do, what is the ASP of the product, what is the consumer finally paying for. And in categories like kids wear, where the fashion element, the purpose of buying purely for fashion element was anyway lower as opposed to women's wear and men's wear, because it's a utility product, day in day out wear, and people, the frequency of purchase is higher and the kids outgrow garments. Pricing has become the key selling parameter. I don't think it's a very healthy practice, but that's what it is. So you need to just come to terms with that new paradigm now, that ultimately the product will be evaluated on price, because so many more people have been exposed to online, that they know that okay, if you are buying a shirt, what is the price that you should be paying for a shirt. So I think the
Correct.
pricing factor has really become very, very
M- m- Thank you for this point, Manu. And uh, I want to also add at this juncture my personal experience. What I saw is pre-pandemic or even in the past, online was mostly OSM, old stock merchandise or old season merchandise. However, now for us, online is in fact higher share of NSM by connecting them to a store. And it is that people are, once they are engaging with the brand, they are able to buy newer product, and it is just about the access. Like personally, what I've been able to drive is more share of full price product through even online. But I'll come back to my opinions later on. I think so I should hear something from
One,
Sanjeev first.
just one more data,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah,
very interesting data. You
yeah.
know, uh, one more data. So, in a brand like Gant, which is a premium brand for Indian market, you rightfully what you said. When the pandemic started, the percentage of full price business to overall online business was 5%. Went up in 3 months to 15%. Went up in the next 6 months to 25%. Today, which is this month or last month, it has gone up to 42%.
Wow, this is
So,
crazy. This is
so,
beautiful.
so it's also to do with the maybe the pyramid of premiumness that you're sitting at,
Yeah,
where a certain customer is maybe not looking for discount.
for discount.
So, but I feel so. My inference out of this number thing is that I feel, going forward there will be a synergy between online and offline. Yeah, discounts would be a game because there are discount seekers. But I think when we'll come to the next section, which is understanding the customer,
Yeah,
I think we will have to understand our customer in a very, very, very close way. I think that is
very
the
true.
game for us in the future.
Very true. I have a point on that, but I want to hear from Sanjeev first and Ronak first and then come back to myself. Sanjeev?
Yeah, see, I think, I agree with the point with Manu that the lines are blurred. So if we think that they are different set of customers, no, they are not. So basically, they are the same set of customers who are actually going online, seeing your product, coming back. And I'll give you a small example. What we realized was that, and it's not all about discounting, it's also about pricing. So how do you price your merchandise online? And what we realized that it's better we actually do SMU lines, which are special lines for online, and start pushing that. But in the same time, we also realized the fact that the number of touch points, the number of times that a customer actually tries to get into your website and see your product, because of so much of digital marketing that's happening, and being a celebrity brand, we like go all over Twitter, Insta, all of that. And you have the customer coming back and back again looking for fresher merchandise. That gave us a clue to actually put a little bit of our full price merchandise, our main line. And what we saw is that the consumer is not only picking up our special lines which we create for online, but they're also picking up a lot of our mainline products. And if I take you all back to what we used to do in brick and mortar, is we always used to say that, hey, since there's a EOSS going on, let's put 2 shelves of our new arrivals. And we normally used to see that along with the discounted sales, our new arrivals are also moving. So that shows very clearly that the consumer is not only going online to buy discounted merchandise as we speak of today. Yes, 2 years back, I agree. 1 year back, I agree. But right now, they are a mixed bag who are also willing to pick up good stuff as well as look at value. So there is a blurring of lines there. And the same happens in our store. Like, for example, today, as our stores will open, you will find one rack which will always have the best of the last. So the best of the last is something that if a consumer walks into your store, he'll always be looking for value in your physical store as well. And that's what we realized, that these lines are getting blurred. And looking the way that it is going, I think given next year, as our next financial years will start, and we have all the malls opening up without the state governments putting in a lockdown, we will clearly see a growth of anywhere between, currently at about 18-19% to roughly about 35 to 40% online.
Beautiful.
And that is what is very clearly visible. And basis that, I presume all the investments that we are doing in terms of tracking the consumers and ensuring that we understand the predictiveness of the consumers' buying behavior, and all of that is an investment which is going in to our businesses.
Sure, sure, Sanjeev. Ronak, we've savored the best of opinions to the last and to you coming to you now.
I mean, everybody is covered, the core and the important
No, it
points.
is not. There are lot of points. Over to you, Ronak.
So what we feel is, Tapan, that we are an aggregator, right? Unlike the other brands, these are brands in itself, right? We curate brands and we offer them to our customers, right? So we have 40 plus leading brands now. We are in this business since 25 plus years, and now we are trying to understand, okay, our customers are the same as everyone mentioned, right? The same customer is buying a Being Human shirt, and the same customer is buying a Gant, same customer is buying a Rado watch from Just in Time. How do we really categorize them, profile them, call it customer data profiling, or call it your single view of customer? It's one and the same. For us, keeping their information discreet, at the same time, having the privacy policies in mind, we want to adhere and to understand relevant information, and how can we curate better brands to each customer, right? That is as simple as that. I mean, we just want to understand what product to show to a particular client. I think that's what CDP means to us. But yeah, we are in line with these new age technologies which are helping us curate that.
Very true, Ronak. And I just want to add that what we did about a few years back is, of course, CDP, we did a customer data lake. And on that, we built lenses. A lens would be, let's say, a 3 by 3 grid of a profile. So you would see, okay, this person is a discount seeker, this person is a fence sitter, this person wants to buy, as Apurv said, wants to buy all new in vogue things which comes across. And we took about, say, at least 9 profiles, and we divided the customer shopping pattern in that, and tailored our communication as well as promotions as per that. And we saw that the read rate, or the use rate of those promotions were much higher because they were more relevant to the customer. Also, what it guided us is in clienteling. in clienteling we could predict the next best action of the customer and have a a person call the customer to engage. And of course, a lot of these patterns are you are also doing. I'm just sharing my side of the story. It's very important, as all of us know, that with this huge India population and with people shopping online and offline, it is very important, of course, down the line to uh, see the patterns there as well. That what is the pattern of each customer, and how a particular customer is behaving. So definitely all of us are doing this. I want to move this needle now to to the next part of it, and little bit more talk about unified promotions, because the same customer, and we talked about a lot of people, Manu, Apoorv, you talked about how the same customer is coming online, the same customer is coming offline also, and it's very important to have a unified promotion which you can run for that customer. So this time I want to go Sanjeev first. And Sanjeev, what's your point from unified promotion engine you want to put there?
Well, I think unified promotions are absolutely required, because you have to understand that when we work, so we have various channels. We work in the distribution. We work in the franchisee EBO channels. We have our own Coco stores. We are also online with different platforms, and we have our own website which actually also sells. So therefore, I think unified promotions are absolutely required for the consumers, and that's I mean, just in one statement, I would say it is necessary to work on unified promotions with consumers today.
Great. Has the pandemic changed any pattern? Did you find yourself, changing because of the pandemic? Any other points, Ronak, if you want to add, or
No, I think one insight that I can give about our ecosystem is we see 15,000 watches selling every day on the Indian e-commerce platforms, right? This is not particularly from the question or the query that we are running on, which is customer profiling. But this insight, what I'm trying to give is that there is a lot of fake watches or fake products which are also being sold. Now that has become a real concern, right? For the marketplaces, for the aggregators. Now it becomes super important for companies like us to make sure that we target the customers and offer them the right products, and promote relevance and trust, and make sure that they get what they're looking for. Now this becomes super important when you are in a locality where Amazon or Mintra or Flipkarts of the world are present, but they're not able to really offer the right products to the customers what they're looking at. In these cases, I'm just talking about the online ecosystem, right? So in these cases, it becomes very, very important for you to know that where your customer is and how do you offer the right product. And hence, even when you're promoting, you have to adhere to all the promotional channels and offer the right product.
okay, okay. Apurva, you have some insights on.
Yeah, for me, I think very, 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 very good point brought by Ranak, which is the trust factor. Because, we also work with some of the most premium brands like True Religion or Versace Jeans Couture. And rightfully, like you said, that if you have a differential discount or price offering strategy across channels, the trust factor will go away. And because we own the brand across
True,
channels,
true, true.
thus it will take, see, there is always a debate which is going on in our mind, which is short term versus long term. We know short term, if we create a differential price offering, we will make one channel do very well. But it will impact the trust that people have in the brand over a long term. So yeah,
True that.
most of the times it's this difficult question which is always with us. Do you choose short-term benefit to long-term burn? So for
I wanna I wanna take a cue on from this trust and make short term and long term, because it is very much important for lifetime value. This topic is very important for lifetime value, and take it to Manu from here.
Super.
Manu,
Yeah,
unified promotion.
I have one more perspective here. When you're talking about promotions, and I'm talking about, a brand reaching the consumer. Now the thing is that the brand reaches a consumer through multiple channels, and there is a retailer in between, and whether it's online or offline, and or maybe you have your own D2C presence. While as a brand, one would like that the end consumer, from wherever he buys or wherever he interacts with the brand, he has the same value perception of the product wherever he buys from. The reality is that increasingly the promotions are being determined by the retailers today. So, for instance, and especially this is very, not only offline, if you are working through third party retailers, like whether you are in modern trade or, you're in online through Amazon or Mintras or anyone, it is because the consumer footfall or the eyeballs or the stickiness depends on how efficient or how strong the retailer is able to reach out to the consumer. So in most of the cases they determine the kind of promotions, especially price driven promotions, the tenure, the period when they want it, and and more often than not, the brands have to follow that because you don't want to be left out within that ecosystem. So my point here now is that we are moving from an era of macro to micro. All communication is becoming very very micro now, and so whether it is in the offline retail ecosystem, so if you're on a Reliance ecosystem, you have a Reliance set of consumers where the promotions are determined by the Reliance retail group for the group as a whole, which of course brings more footfalls, in turn results in better sales for the brands as well. Similarly, if you look at the online channels, whether it is Myntra, Amazon, they never have. I mean, rarely do you see clash of big ticket events. They all calendar it in such a way that they don't conflict with each other. So ultimately, as a brand, unless you have a very very strong direct presence with the consumer, you have to follow the promotion calendar, the promotion, the schemes which the retailer determines. And I think a lot of times this is also resulting in a conflict with between the brands and retailers, because most in today's circumstances where there's a pressure on sales and there's a pressure on pricing because of the pandemic, this you are at cross purposes with each other, because obviously one man's gain would be other man's loss. So there is this theme which is developing where of course ideally you should be collaborating on this and you should be working jointly, but it's I'm what I'm seeing is it being increasingly dominated by the retail groups which are directly uh,
Totally,
yeah.
totally hear you, Manuji. Nina, this time we've savored your opinion for the last as the best. So, Nina, over to you. And also, if you want to throw some light on loyalty, that from a lifetime value perspective, of course, brand perception, pricing is a lot of things, especially for baggage. So, over to you, Nina.
Yeah, so I think most of y'all have covered a lot of stuff. But I think one thing that we could also talk about is every customer would require a different kind of a communication, whether it be a working woman, whether it be a discount-seeking customer, and her consumption of media would be different. So I think somebody would be Insta, Facebook, someone would be magazines. I think the magazine world is gone. The hoarding world is pretty much gone. But I think even in social media, I think there are so many different ways, and technology has really made it easy. But I think consumption of that customer is important, and I think at Baggage we really score very very well in loyalty, because we've been there for 30 years in the retail world, and our product quality and all our other things like which is made locally in the country, all of our materials being good for the environment. So a lot of those things have really worked positively for us. So I think loyalty is a given factor, but yeah, keeping your customers, because like how we see in the online world, she has so many choices, like it's
True,
crazy.
true.
So yeah.
So no, I'm with you on this. And I was when I was a kid, I used to think that loyalty is an emotion. Why only measure it with say 20% off or 8% off or 10% off? Because that's logic in my mind. Then, of course, a few years back, we all stumbled upon the fact that Amazon Prime is a loyalty program, and people pay to get loyalty of Amazon. So, which is very different. So, Apurva, I just want to take this concept of loyalty to you. That how do you tackle this with your brands?
Yeah, an interesting case study which is there with me now. So we were on the traditional loyalty model 2 years back, which was the traditional earn burn model. But in like 2 years back, we realized that this has become a very lethargic way of working because it was becoming a pain for our customers to keep a track on their points or their tier status, as we say. And we figured out that for us, product is the king, and customer looks for value when it comes to our stores or visits our online channel. So we made a conscious effort to move from an earn and burn traditional model to actually a subscription-based model where you have to pay for loyalty. And,
Beautiful. I would like to hear
and,
more.
and first, let me give you some facts of the traditional model.
Okay.
So our traditional model, basically, though it looked good on paper and Excel sheet, but it would only influence behavior of 8% of our customer base.
Yeah, I had numbers of 7%, so 8% totally
And,
understandable.
and redemptions were 2%. So though it looked
2% true that.
so, but on paper it looked very good. On presentations it looked very good, but actual was very different from Excel sheets. So we moved to the annual subscription-based model. So this was a very inclusive program where the customer could choose the subscription plans, like you could do in, like in Amazon Prime or American Express. So, here the beauty was that customer would get benefit at the onset rather than waiting to earn for it. So he could choose that, he wanted to be a part of the plan, pay for it. But with it, what we were doing was that we were giving him an equal value of gift for the amount of subscription money that we were collecting at the time of subscribing. So for him, it was a great value, number one. Number two, along with that, we were giving them gift vouchers for birthdays and anniversaries. Number three, we were giving them 10% additional discount, no question asked, with any price or discount applied in the store.
Beautiful.
Now, with this, let me give you some data points because
Yeah.
this is what is interesting. So, 18% of a customer base who enrolled into this loyalty program were
Massive.
walk-ins.
Beautiful.
21% of our infrequent customers became part of this program.
Beautiful.
Third data point, which is amazing, was that it directly influenced the repeat frequency by 32%.
Very nice. Very nice.
Fourth data point was that our membership today is about 16% of our total customer base, which accounts for 20%, 24% of our sale. And fifth is that 45% of this subscription program
Yeah.
has done repeat purchase.
Wow.
So coming to the last point, now I will also give you one more aspect, which has become even more interesting, is that we want with this whole first we collect for us in earlier times a customer was a phone number like it would be for any traditional offline. With this entire new loyalty program, now a customer is for us a name, a age, a gender, a pin code, a birth date, an anniversary date. So there are so many more means to communicate or interact with the customer.
And next best action.
Absolutely. And you're able to, and we've started a lot of things with this. Now we capture non-buyer feedback for royalty, for a loyalty database, which helps us configuring our selections. Suppose somebody didn't like the t-shirt collection of a brand. He gives us that feedback in the store. And that's all measured. So other than the financial aspects of it, which has been fantastic, and which you could have never thought of, because this is one area which has protected us in the last 1.5 years, because we couldn't reach out to new customers from offline marketing standpoint. So, but we could easily reach out to our loyalty base.
Very
So
good. Very good.
this has been a case study for us at an overall standpoint.
Very beautiful, Apur. Very cutting edge. Very beautiful. Ronak, I want to go to you next.
Yeah, so what Apuva said is super relevant, and something we are trying to implement. So we are glad that it's working somewhere, right? What we are doing and where we've seen slight success and where we are putting our bigger bets is we are trying to increase places for customers to earn more, right? When it comes to digital, if it is a online ecosystem, we are putting bits and places where they can put their reviews and earn more, right? Put recommendations and earn more points. So where if they are adding more coins or relevant cash, digital cash in their wallets, then we would be able to have places for them to redeem it. So we don't think that earn and burn is going away. We are just trying to replicate what happened maybe 15 years ago in the offline on the online, and we are seeing some success there where we think that earn and burn is going to stay, like how offline is going to stay, right? But we are just adding relevant places on the online ecosystem and seeing success. We've started seeing success there.
That's nice. That's nice, Ronak. Sanjeev, this time we've savored your opinion for the last. And of course, I'll come back to Manu sir once again.
Yeah, see, I think most of it has been told, and I completely agree that the earn and burn processes have changed. The age-old ways that we used to do it now, and I completely agree that it looks very nice on the Excel sheet and all of that. But actually, when you go down to the depth of it and you see actually कि भाई साहब हमने इस साल कितने पैसे खर्च किए इसके पीछे, and when you take that amount of money and you see the kind of conversions and all, doesn't it? So it has changed. The world has changed. For us, it works a little differently, and we are actually we are actually planning to redo the whole thing. And as you know that this brand has got probably a very large fan base, which is not only in India but across the world. And our and since we are online, we also get a lot of sales coming from other countries. Now the whole idea is that yes, it's important that you have a view of your customers who are loyal to you. At the same time, without saying much, I would like to say that the question is also that uh, are your millennial customers really loyal to you? I mean, the question, I mean, it's a very fundamental question that we are asking ourselves that yes, we need to have the database so that, we know exactly what to push, how much of discounting that needs to be done. There's a earn and burn kind of a process which happens. But we have seen a trend in recent times where even we did a small research where technically because, we cater to a pretty young group as well. And we've realized that for them, it's all about the product, the price, the style quotient, and that's about it. So we are saying that do we actually, and I think somebody just mentioned that, it's no longer identifying them through the traditional methods, but also through the social methods in terms of what they buy, how they buy, and all of that, which was just stated. So we're also kind of looking at that and redoing our entire systems as we just coming out now, and that
Sure.
the processes have just begun.
Sure. Great, Sanjeev. Manuji, I had mentioned this point in my previous question as well. From a lifetime value perspective, for your category, how do you see loyalty and how are you impacting it with your
Uh,
group?
I look at it from a more fundamental point of view, and I think in kidswear, loyalty, I think, stems from the fact that there is a, the credibility of the product takes, primary this thing, because initially when we launched, there was a lot of apprehension. People wanted to try out the product quality, wash it once, wear it, and see whether it's repeat, whether it can withstand repeat wash and wear. And I'm talking about kids wear as a category in particular. So the loyalty over a period of time was built only on the strength of the product quality and the consistency that we were able to offer in terms of quality and sizing. Now The other aspect of loyalty, which means that you are buying because you are getting certain embedded benefits which can be encashed or redeemed at a future point of time. Today there are so many instruments, your credit cards, your payment gateways, everyone is offering you certain cashbacks, your loyalty points and everything. Somewhere it's a lot of din which has happened, and I think so earn and burn traditionally will always work because people will always look for the best possible deals. But it in kids wear, which is a very low ASP product, I think the scope for offering too much of a loyalty program of its own is very limited. In fact, again, I come back to the thing: the choice of platform and the choice of payment instruments that you can offer will all add to the whole gamut of loyalty and cashbacks which you can get. So there are benefits which you can get by using certain, if you are a Paytm user or if you're a HDFC card user, there are enough that is happening. I think we have to constantly work on maintaining consistency of product quality, because I think that is the one thing which will stay with the consumer. uh, the cashbacks, wallet, digital wallet, all these matters, but I think there is enough number of options which are available with everyone. Because I think every bank, every payment instrument is offering that today. So I think today is a very good time to be a consumer, because they have enough number of options which are available with them to encash loyalty of usage, etc. So but as I, again coming back, our primary goal would be to maintain quality consistency, because if you are not satisfied with this, then no matter whatever you offer, then especially in kids wear, there is a tendency to just move away from the
100% Manuji, and I agree with this fact that the product is the hero. That's the diamond there. That's the Kohinoor there. However, I do believe, and based on my experience, we've been having major discussions with maybe 200, 300 brands in the last 3, 4 years, that earn burn is fagging out, or it's losing its charm. And it's more and more coming out that loyalty is actually a feeling, the need for them to feel associated with your brand, the way they want to have be associated with your brand. And the lifetime value concept of the lifetime value of the customer is, I'm seeing that that is taking a dominant discourse. So especially for your category, and especially for your category, a customer would be say 10 plus years, they would, so LTV aspect is very, very high. So I have also seen that people are fine to pay for the loyalty, but they want to get certain benefits. And even for the millennials, Sanjeev, what I've seen is that couple of brands, so to speak, say a Starbucks, they are fine to but they want to be associated with that brand, and so to speak, there are many other brands where they would want to be associated with that. I am more and more seeing, and I read it somewhere a long time back, that people compartmentalize their decisions in three factors, three forms: functional decision, economic decision, and emotional decision. For example, I want to buy a Harley Davidson, or I want to buy an Enfield Bullet. I want to buy an Enfield Bullet. Or maybe if my father used to apply Old Spice, it is not about the price. I like his smell.
Yeah.
So even there may be so many expensive, but I would like to apply an Old Spice because it just reminds me of him. It's an emotional decision.
I'd
So
like to add a point there, Tapan.
yeah,
Like what Mr. Indrayan said, completely agree to what he said. It's a consumer market. What I have read, recently is out of all the cash, digital cash that is available for to the customer, may be on Amazon Pay or a Cred or a Google Pay or a Paytm wallet, all these platforms, they have n number of loyalty, cash and digital coins available in their wallets. They don't know where to spend. So a consolidation is required. And absolutely to your point, Tapan, that customers are now looking at value. Where do I use this? where do I burn this? That's where consolidation is required, and that's where value added can be provided by companies like us, where we have relevant products to offer. If we have the infrastructure in place, if we are rightly aligned with the wallets and the payment gateways, then this bridge can be built.
Absolutely, Ronak. That is also there. There is also an emotional point there. For example, and especially your kind of category of products, they're emotional product. Like Rado is an emotional product. You would like to pass it on from generation to generation.
Absolutely, watches.
Yeah, and insignia, which if you're a member, you get an insignia. You can upgrade that. It's something which you cannot replace with anything. So of course most of us are doing that, but I'm just adding my point, and I am getting signal that we are at the fag end of the time, and I just want to close in time. So I want to hear from you, as we all know, and parting shots, 30 seconds each. So as we see that the online offline mix is changing. There are three parameters we discussed: 360-degree view of the customers, unified promotion, and loyalty. How do you see the future moving ahead? And this time I want to start with Ronak first, and then I'll move to Manuji.
I think a customer's profile, which is online and offline merged, a single view is going to be super important for us to have a better customer retention on our both platforms, may it be offline or online. And that's where companies, should put their bets on to create a robust infrastructure to have a well integrated approach between these two channels. Then you cater from marketplaces or your online brand store or your offline channels through franchises, etc. But your backend infrastructure has to be robust enough to cater to your customer.
Correct.
Otherwise, there's a full stop.
Correct. Manuji.
I think I view it in a way that, especially in our segment, you look at the Indian demographics, what we are seeing is that obviously it's a young population. So in terms of, kids, more and more people who are having children are very, very online savvy. Okay, so the people in late 20s, early 30s are all very, very internet savvy, online shopping savvy. So what we need to do as a brand and what we are doing now is completely shifting our focus to addressing that generation, and in a language in which they understand. And that is the key, and that's the learning which we are ourselves doing, because
Beautiful point, Manuji. Beautiful point.
it's just that the skill set which is required to communicate with them, I would say, comes more naturally to my 15-year-old than to me, unfortunately. But yes, that's the learning that we are doing, because it comes very naturally to them. The younger generation to communicate through digital channels, whether it is, Insta, whether it is Finsta, whether it is Snapchat, everything. You can converse with them and they are ready to adapt and they are ready to understand. So you need to master this, emerging, all the platforms, technology which is shaping up, because that's the language which the new generation understands. And I think earlier we was thinking that, okay, a being human, a customer which is a youth would probably do that. But I think now younger parents, because the same people are now becoming parents, and when they're having children, that thing is continuing. And I think it is right up to the late 40s and early 50s, it is
Sure.
continuing now. So that's
Manuji.
a big change, and I think that's where we are now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nina, over to you, and then to Sanjeev.
Yeah, I think what is lacking a little bit is that when we're talking about different customers, different ways of talking to the customer through the consumptions, through the stuff that you show them, I think in all of this it still needs one brand language, where sometimes it can go a little amiss. So I think different customers, different consumption, different marketing strategies, different promos, but one brand language is what I think is what I'm learning more and more about.
I totally agree with that, Nina. The brand language has to be in the same pattern. Totally. Sanjeev.
Yeah, I think moving forward, the omni part is going to become extremely important to all of us, and we can't just change it, because it's already become a fabric of the way, fabric in the way which we interact with consumers, we sell to consumers. One thing that is very particular to fast fashion brands like us is that the millennial crowd has become very impatient. They don't have that much time to kind of come there. So stores are going to become much more experiential, carry more of signature lines where you need to come and check it out and all of that. But online is slowly going to take up quite a large share of our sales, which is going to have a very different way that we address the brand, the way we touch the customers in various touch points, the way that we push our merchandise, the way that we price our merchandise, the way that they are able to access the merchandise, return the merchandise, buy it online, return it offline, do all of that. So I think that's where it is going to go, and there's still a lot of crossovers which are there, which over the next year, 2 years, 3 years is going to get more kind of cleaner, and we'll know
Sure.
the exact path. Yeah, yeah.
Sure. Apurv, how about you?
I think I'll summarize with the line I started with. I think gone are the days when customer will come to you. We have to go to point number one. Point number two, I think the entire definition has to move from average transaction value to lifetime transaction value. The moment you start working in this term, you'll start focusing on loyalty, you'll start focusing on experience. And when I say lifetime transactional value, it's not limited to one channel. So you should know your customer and measure his lifetime transactional value across channels. Because a customer is a customer, his visits are his visits. So I'll summarize with that.
No, very true, Open. And I'm just summing from my side. There are three levels as we discussed, connect, converge, converse. And some is very rightly said, as Sanjeev said, on the plumbing aspect, the connectivity aspect, the channel wise fulfillment aspect. But even if I see the converse, the way we would communicate with the customer has, of course, background has three parts to it: the message part, the medium part, the channel part, and the TG part. The medium, of course, you'll have to be in all mediums, as Manuji said, that the online mediums, etc., etc. But to tailor the message and to understand the TG, it is very important to have the data there, to have a data lake, to have a lens there, that what kind of a lens is this, what is the relevance for this communication for this person, what's something that will be of value to them, for clienteling for them. So I feel that those two aspects has a headroom for growth right now. And as Apurv said, as a lot of us said, that the lifetime value aspect, and someone taught me when I was just entering into the business, and I still remember that sales is not catching a fish, sales is planting a seed. And when you have more and more lifetime fruits from there, that's where the sale happens. So with that thought and with the lifetime value thought, I thank you all. It is a fantastic decision, a fantastic discussion. I thought that maybe if we would have even discussed for 1 more hour, we would have just touched the tip of the iceberg. It's very enriching to hear your opinion. Thank you very much for spending time with
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you for giving us
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you.